Greetings, you tubular tubers, you. It's Pat. Little Sunday update for you. Just want to get through these boxes, get through these 7 inches, so I can move on to something more original. Pretty good little stack this time to talk about. Before I talk about the 7 inches, went out shopping yesterday, doing some thrift shopping. Went to a place called Salem Consignment, Witch City Consignment, and got some really cool books and stuff that I thought I'd show off, just to mix things up a little bit before I get to these 7-inch records. Got some old wrestling mags. Check that out. Got the Sheik on there. Breathing Fire. Well, he's not breathing fire on this, but he did breathe fire back in the day. Haystack Calhouns. This is the classic era of the business. I think I paid way too much for these. I didn't see the price, but the total was kind of a lot. It's great. Got Crimson Mask going there. And look at this. Chavo, Jay Strongbow, and Mil Mascaras. You can't get a more classic wrestling cover than that, so that's cool. And they had a bunch of these Time Life books. They had some of those Mysteries of the Unknown books. You older cats might remember all the commercials for those back in the 80s and 90s. They had a series I'd never heard of called The Enchanted World. Got one about dragons. It's got all kinds of dragon lore, ranging from medieval Europe to the Far East. Got the Eastern dragons right there. That's pretty dope. Celestial Guardians. Got the diversity of their habitats. Sort of an anthropological study of dragons, stories and stuff like that. Sleepless Guardian of the Golden Apples. Gotta guard them apples. That's cool. Damn Suscalar. Got one about wizards. These are $8 a piece, which isn't bad. They smell a little weird though. But yeah, same kind of deal with the wizards. Lots of folk tales and shit like that. I can't wait to paw through these while I spin records, which will, it doesn't happen too often, but it's nice to have stuff to stare at other than the internet when you're listening to music, just like in the old days. And Legends of Valor, I've got a couple more on the shelf. I don't want to burn up time by showing off all my nerd books, but Legends of Valor, man. Magnificent but malevolent was the Maeve of Connacht, a warrior queen who sent vast armies to conquer the champions of Ulster and seize the magic bull of Cooley. That is some Irish stuff right there. So, that's pretty ill. I also picked up a couple of CDs. They were all on sale for $1. Lots of shit that I couldn't possibly ever want, like Michael Bublé. I just took a gamble on this. I knew it'd be like tech, brutal, death, slam, gurgle stuff, but I couldn't resist with a name like Terminally You're Aborted Ghost. I actually liked it more than I thought I would. Main detractor for me is the vocals and some of the lyrics. Not lyrics, some of the song titles are just ridiculous. But I don't know, I'll probably give this one more spin when I'm feeling adventurous, I can't completely slam, no pun intended, on this stuff all the time without really giving it much of a chance, which I kind of had, because I'm a close-minded old prick. And right now, I'm listening to this Entombed. Very into the death and roll here with To Ride, Shoot Straight, and Speak the Truth. This was the album I believe they toured with Bloodlet on, and we talked about Bloodlet a bit on that last update with my buddy John. So I thought I'd give it a shot, and it's not bad. I don't really mind this era of Entombed at all. The first song just kind of sounded like a mix between Wolverine Blues era Entombed and Danzig, and those are two things I like. I definitely, of course, Left Hand Path overall. But this stuff's cool. There were enough bands that sounded like Left Hand Path by the time they were doing this that they didn't really need to do it anymore. Of course, they did it best. So yeah, that's some recent purchases. And we were entering the ends of the 7 inches. Last we spoke of these. So I got Neurosis Aberration EP here. This is between Pain of Mind and Word is Law, I believe. This is on Lookout Records, Green Day's label. I believe they even toured with Green Day on the East Coast in the late 80s or early 90s. Starting to show the shift in sound between murky yet fast hardcore for the most part into something a lot more dirgy and scary. Nothing really too special to show off. It's Lookout Records number 12, so. And not everything on Lookout was pop punk either. They put out Filth. They put out the excellent Grimple, who started kind of melodic punk and then went completely shreddy metal, almost crossover crust later. The Grimple Logical Nonsense split is a must-have if you like anything along those lines, crust kind of shit. If you don't own it, you're fucking up by it. Now I got a little threefer here. I bought all these at once when I saw that they were re-released because they were really expensive, and there was a compilation of LP of everything, but it just didn't. Something about listening to bands like this on one long LP seems like a just kind of tedious, and sometimes I feel like, again, cramming too much music on one LP makes stuff sound shitty, or maybe it was a mastering job on the LP. I didn't like the LP and ditched it, and then gave this band another shot once I bought these, and I knew they were good because I had plenty of friends' opinions that I trusted about No Comment, and yeah, this stuff is great. It's you know, it fits comfortably in that power violence kind of zone, although I'd say it leans more on the hardcore side of things. Very fast songs, verging on blasting, sort of DRI, capitalist casualties kind of speed. Less extreme tempo shifts, but pretty quick stop on a dime going into slower parts and stuff. All on black vinyl. One of them this is live on KXLU, it's a radio set, and the other two were EPs. There's the radio set one for you. Common Senseless, this is great. Packaging is really nice. All these are on Deep 6. They're all on black, so you don't really need to see that. You know what black vinyl looks like. You don't need me to wipe my ass for you. Wipe your ass for me. I gotta edit that. I'll edit that. And Downsided. This one in particular, I know that it can be a bit trying when people pull out posters and show them off. It's kind of a pain in the ass to watch and do. But I have to display this. I will take my rolling chair. A little slice for this, that. Very, very dark shit there. But yeah, all this is great. Actual power violence, you know, not just bands that aped that sound, but bands that were actually from this little clique of bands that coined that term. Which should fit neatly into my next 7-inch that I'm going to show in the N letter of the alphabet, which is Neanderthal. This is a bootleg. This is the band that would go on to become Man is the Bastard. Complete fighting music. So this is not only their 7-inch, but the split with Rorschach and maybe something else. It's a boot. Limited to 300. I got 56, looks like there. So yeah, white label, black vinyl. This stuff is great. It's very extreme in sounds, in that the tempo changes lurch back and forth between very fast and this sort of crawling, dare I say almost sludgy kind of tempo. Shredded, desperate vocals. Awesome, awesome stuff. There's a song on here called Mind Eraser. There's a great band of this style from Boston that were around primarily in the 2000s that sound like an expanse on the sound with more metal influences, early earache influences. They have one album that's all very, very slow. They have a couple of records that are like 10-song 7-inch. They go all over the map, and the members went on to be in a bunch of bands that I've talked about on this channel. Magic Circle being one of them, and a whole bunch of other great Boston area hardcore and metal bands. So if you have any interest in power violence at all, I would highly suggest Mind Eraser as well. This is Nazi Dust. This isn't quite power violence, but it's very fast hardcore from Florida. Nice 33, but a 45 hole. Trying to trick me here. It's on orange vinyl. I believe members from this were in that band Cult Ritual, that was another hardcore band at the time. Laundry's Ready. But yeah, super pissed. Pretty personal kind of lyrics here. Sort of personal, political. Very good record. One of the better records that came out at this time, which I think was the late 2000s. So, more hardcore on deck after that. Got Negative Effects, I was talking about them before. Kind of like that Last Rites record I was talking about, but a little bit faster. This is a reissue on Tang. Jack Kelly, aka Choke, on vocals, who later went on to be the vocalist for Slapshot for many, many years. They are still going. Raw, sandpaper vocals, mostly fast, blistering Boston hardcore. You really need this if you want to get into hardcore at all, if you're not already. Kind of going in a different direction in the hardcore genre here. We got Oversight. This is a band from Syracuse whose singer went on to be in a band called Framework, and Framework, sans the singer, went on to become Earth Crisis. This is on blue vinyl. On Conquer the World Records, which was a Connecticut label, put out a lot of stuff, including Chokehold and some other shit. Very emotive kind of vocals, sort of like late Turning Point kind of stuff. I'm not sure if they were going in a super vegan straight edge direction on this yet. I don't. Looks like it's mostly personal lyrics. I haven't listened to this in forever. Good friend of mine played bass on this record. She's a skater punk guy from upstate New York. I've been friends with the singer from this band forever. But this was classic upstate stuff from my hometown before Earth Crisis blew the whole scene up, This is the beginning. This must have been like 1990. It's actually Conquer the World #1, and as you saw a moment ago, it's on blue. And it's also got this great, this was very common of a lot of bands at the time. You can't really tell, but this sort of grainy, recycled, photocopied cover. Pretty much every single hardcore release from my hometown for like 4 years straight had this type of paper. Then we got Panzer Bastard. Surprise, surprise, another Panzer Bastard record from Pat. But like I mentioned during the Boston update, this is their best record to date. Nice. They finally, Keith, the main guy behind the band, finally solidified a great lineup that have been solid for over a year now, I think. This is the Die Hard. This came on clear. It also came with an embroidered back patch, which I put on a vest. I'm not going to show it off right now because I don't have it handy. This is on Patak Records, who I've mentioned. Got that nice Hammer of Thor there. Yeah, just vicious. The production is head and shoulders above pretty much every record they've done to this point. The song Traitor is a vicious diatribe against the guy who helped book a benefit for the marathon bombing victims and then kind of skipped town without giving the fund that was taking care of that benefit, the money. Not a good person, and you can tell by the way Keith sings about him. All of it's fast, Motorheady, kind of speed metalish stuff like I've described before. They do, when Panzer Bastard slows it down, which they do once in a blue moon, like on the song Motor Heathen, the title track, it's awesome. I wouldn't call it quite doomy. I don't think that's the correct adjective. I would say it's more just epic, triumphant, and you can't really hear a song like that sounds like a band that takes as much influence from Motorhead without thinking of Orgasmatron. Not that it's a direct ripoff of that song. So that's badass. We got Peacebreakers, another Boston band here, another hardcore band. Great stuff in the vein of the FUs and Negative Approach and Negative Effects. Just catchier than Norovirus during the winter. Just fucking really, really good. Everyday Battle's a little bit more of a boiling rager. It's total paint peeler shit, You want to repaint your house, throw the 7-inch on. The walls will be stripped bare. You're all set. Got Phobia, All That Remains. First EP on Relapse, I believe. Black vinyl, no insert. There's the back. Phobia definitely went more in a grind direction later, although you know, this is certainly has a grind influence. It's almost kind of like UK stenchcore kind of stuff meets early 90s American death metal, and it's good. It's really good. It's not my favorite. That still belongs to Means of Existence, but it's really great. Poison Idea. This is the Filth Kick EP. This came out within a few years before or after this one that I showed off. These are both Record Store Day ones. This one's the, excuse me, the Getting the Fear 7-inch, which I've shown before. This is great. You know, like I mentioned for the Getting the Fear one, their sound was tightening up a bit. They were slowing down and getting more powerful with their sound. 4 songs. They cover New Rose by the Damned and might do it just as good as the original. I wouldn't say better, because that song's a fucking one of my favorite punk songs, but this is great. Fucking Throaty Vox, R.I.P. Pig Champion. There's a drunk in the pit and he's hurting my friends. This is Project X. This is actually a boot, an early 90s boot on Schism. For those not in the know or don't know their straight edge hardcore, this was dudes from Youth of Today and Judge, just the usual cast of characters. Ray Kappa was not happy about this because he felt like it portrayed straight edge negatively. It was a little bit more angry. It's a photocopied cover. You got to be careful when you go to a store that has these ones that tape down, because I definitely ripped it, but what are you going to do? Straight edge revenge. Great stuff. I believe to be a little tongue-in-cheek. Blank Label. There you go. If you like Youth of Today, if you like Straight Ahead, who might be my favorite band from that scene, definitely give this a try. Angry, adolescent sounding, kind of squawked vocals. This was a gimme. We're talking about reissues on that live stream. Aaron, the metal theologian, was talking about how he hated bonus tracks. I think this is the right way to do it, which would further explain why High Roller has their shit together. Because they have some demo tracks for, you know, I think this was the first thing Protector recorded. Came with a bonus, as a bonus with the Golem LP, I think. And that's the way to do it. Don't tack them on the LP. Don't ruin the integrity and the continuity of the original LP. Throw a 7-inch in there. I'll throw it in my 7-inch box and listen to it whenever. Wonderful. But yeah, Protector. Early vicious Teutonic thrash. Bordering on proto-black kind of stuff. Public Nuisance. Fucking awesome. Not quite straight up pogo punk. They were had a bit more of a hardcore edge. Real vicious. Part of the Squatter Rot scene in New York. Awesome shit. Cheap Sex and Booze. Eating shit again. Just total gutter punk, you know. Note that the singer's wearing a Black Flag shirt, but it is of the Insecticide, not the band. Very important. NYC Crooked Edge. So you can see the after effects of bands like Project X getting a little too serious, maybe. Or maybe not. There it is. What label is this on? I don't even know. I think it's Resist and Exist is the name of the label. They were a punk label in the early 90s. Fucking great band. I wish I would have got to have seen them, but it never happened. It's kind of the same scene that eventually the Casualties came out of, and the Undesirables, who are a great band of that style. Speaking of New York, lesser known, until I bought this, I'd never heard of them. This band Putrifact. Kind of cool about picking up old records like this. You can see this taped on address. It's a Brooklyn address, so that's where I'm assuming they were based out of. Little pre-made sticker for Afterworld Records, which is based in Hillsdale, Michigan. But this is cool. You know, it's definitely none too different from early Incantation, early Mortician, you know, all the usual subjects, whatever. But there's a little bit more carcass in there, I feel like. Whether that's subliminal or not, maybe it's just because their name is Putrifact, but I think I hear it in there. Very raw, stripped down. They only had 2 members. A guy on drums and vocals named Omar, and a guy on bass and guitar named Arthur, so I don't know if they were ever a live band or not. But definitely worth a spin. I have been a very good boy about including links, so, you know, you can always click the little arrow if you want to check some of this stuff out. Bands like this, I'm wondering if they even have shit on YouTube, but I guess we'll find out when I upload this. And we got a double EP by the Queers. These guys became a very, very syrupy, Ramonesy kind of pop punk band into the 90s and 2000s. Very Beach Boys influenced. This is from their more raw beginnings. That was kind of scrappier punk. I wouldn't say hardcore. Snotty, faster punk. Great, intelligent songs. Like We'd Have a Riot during doing heroin. Kicked Out of the Weebelows is a jam. You could sort of see where they were going with the Ramonesy thing on that one. Tulu is a wimp. This Place Sucks. That's a good... Can't think of a more adolescent punk title than This Place Sucks. And we got Red Death. This is a DC band. I believe they're still active. Played Boston a bunch of times a few years ago. Thrashy, crossover-y stuff. I'd say 1 degree of separation away from crossover, more towards hardcore than bands like Foreseen and Power Trip and Municipal Waste and bands like that. This is a little bit more towards straight-up hardcore, although that has that tight E, open E, palm-muted sort of gallopy sort of thing that crossover has. It's got great vocals, great roaring vocals that remind me of a band from Mass from the 2000s called the A-Team. Just real pissed, throaty, deep, voluminous hardcore vox. Then we got Rot, Diabolus, the Unholy Rot Demo 90. Yeah, this is one of those bands, I saw the record at Armageddon and I was like, that looks old. It looks like some weird-ass early 90s demo that somebody tried to press for some reason. It might suck to a lot of people's ears, but I bet I'll enjoy it regardless, and I do. It is fucking rough, though. I will warn you there. It was recorded in Atlanta. I believe they're from Atlanta. If I remember correctly, I did research this on Metal Archives, and that's where they're from. It was released by Skullzine and distribution in Roswell, Georgia. So yeah, I don't know if that's... This looks like a boot, so maybe this is just the original 7-inch and somebody booted it. I don't know. But it sounds like Goat Lord jamming with Impetigo on fucking cough syrup, recording in like a Fisher-Price tape deck, which means it's great. Check it out. I love it. And we got some Rotten UK. This is a band from Rochester, New York. If any of you are familiar with Bloodwolf, it is the vocalist with a bunch of young guns doing more of a gloomy sort of anarcho-punk that's reminds me a lot of the Mob, but a bunch of other influences, maybe some Christian Death in there. Definitely great stuff. You gotta respect James for a buddy of mine there, Rev Sin, for just keeping it real. Dude looks like he's ready to fight for water in a post-apocalyptic wasteland there. But plus you got Anarchy Jake. But no, in all seriousness, these guys are really good. Their full length is excellent. It's on Hell's Headbangers, and they're great live. So if you get a chance to see them, do so. They're awesome if you like that kind of stuff. Even if you don't, give it a shot. Maybe you can expand your horizons a little bit. Cool little bat stamp there on the insert. Lots of confusing stencil-y symbols like you have in this genre. Got an insert. There you go. Yeah. And that's the R's. And that's my update. I do want to do a Boston old school metal bands, or not old school, but 80s metal band special with a bunch of LPs I have picked out. But I want to do it much in the same manner that I did the last one. I want it to be nice and edit in clips and everything. I don't have as much stuff to show, probably like 5 or 6 pieces. So I'm not going to get around to that till next weekend because my work week's about to start. So until then, I guess, hang out, groove to some death and roll if you're feeling brave, and talk to you guys soon.